All right, so what I have in front of me today is the T console from Sonimus, and this is their third console series. They have the A and they have the N. Now, there's been some speculation as to what this is modeled after, and it is modeled after the UA610 console. It does say that in the manual, and you can also tell by the color scheme with the big black knobs that, that's what it looks like. The setup is pretty much the same as far as the A and the N. But I'll go over the controls anyway, just so you can get an idea in case you don't have either one of these and you're new to the series. All right, so if we click on the S, this is going to bring up your calibration where you can actually change this if you need to, but it's defaulted to dBFS -18. Underneath that, we have the push, which is, if you have this on, you have warm and hot. So warm is going to push the signal even harder into the console, but it does it in a way that's more gentle than if you actually have it on hot. When you have hot engaged, this is going to push the signal even harder, and you start to get distortion. If that's what you want, you get more saturation from out of the console. Underneath that, we have the settings knob right here. If you click on this, then it brings up extra settings, and you have trim as drive. Now, normally this fader acts as a volume knob for the console, but when you have trim as drive engaged, this is going to act like a saturation knob. So when you use this, it's going to push more saturation into the signal instead of turning the volume up. Underneath that, you have your meter pre, and then you have your filter pre. Now, when both of these are engaged, this is going to put the meter and the filter before the saturation. You have your mix knob, and then you have your output. So let's close that out. And then you have your high cut, you have your low cut filters, you have your saturation where you can turn this in, turn it off. And then you also have the FAT. Now, from what I read in the manual, the FAT is going to give you more of the vintage tube sound like the console. And I noticed when you do have this on, it does add a nice thickness and a little more weight to the sound. You also have your crosstalk, and when you have no crosstalk on, there's no bleed in between tracks at all. Once you have the vintage on, this is going to add the most bleed from track to track, and then modern is a little less bleed. And there are also two different modules for the T console, just like with the rest of them. You have your channel, and then you have your bus. So obviously the channel one is the one that you put on individual channels, and then a bus is going to be the one you put on your master bus, mix bus, drum bus, whatever you want to put that on. And this has the same thing too, as far as the crosstalk, which you can switch on there, and then you can change the saturation on both of those as well, and the FAT. How I like to use the consoles is I like to have everything routed in the master grouping section. And how you get to the master grouping is you click over here in the right hand corner, and this brings it up, and then you see I have master grouping clicked. You also have where you can change size of the plugin, and then you have oversampling, up to 16 times oversampling. Now, a couple more settings you have is this going to be a bypass, and as you can see when I hit the bypass, it's bypassing the saturation and the fat. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know if this bypasses the whole plugin or just the saturation. So I asked Sonimus about that, but they haven't got back to me yet. But for now, we will use the bypass on here, and I think it will bypass everything, I hope. You also have the S drive on here too, if you want to drive more signal into your bus, if you have this routed, or you can do it to the individual channels as well. Then we come down under here is where you have trim routing too. Now, you can either have the trim where it controls the individual channels, or you can have it where it controls the buses, or you can have it where it controls both. So to turn down the channel and the bus at the same time, if that's how you have it routed. I have it routed for both on this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with it in, because I feel like when I pull it out, you'll hear it more. So we're going to start with it in, and these examples are going to be a little longer. I'm not going to really talk as much once I hit the examples, so you can just listen. All right. So we're going to start with it in first, and then you'll see me pull it out. Let's get it started. All right, so I know this may be subtle and some may not hear it. I feel like it brings up the snare more and it brings up the bass a little more in the kick. But let me know. We're going to do it one more time. So it's in right now. So let's listen to it one more time. We're going to listen to it. Now this time I'm going to start with it off and then I'll kick it in again. So this is off. So I gotta say, out of all of the consoles, the A might be my favorite. I do like this one too. So maybe this is something you guys want to check out. Let me know in the comments below if you heard the difference and if you think it's something that's worth picking up for you guys. All right, so that's all I got for you today. Peace until next time.